Ladies and gentlemen, this is Durag Wisdom, and we are 34 days into the coup that happened on the 9/11 election day. First, about my hat. This is from the Stonewall Inn. I live in New York City, and a colleague of mine who is also retired, we're both teachers, we believe in the idea that we live in New York City and we could drink with whomever we want to. And in spite of the fact that my friend and I are both heterosexual, we have no problem being able to enjoy a drink or two or three or four or five, as long as we're under control, with fellow human beings who happen to be homosexual. So here's my hat that's from the Stonewall Inn, and I wear this hat proudly along with this shirt because in my world, in my friend's world, we believe in a diverse world, a tolerant world, a world where you're not afraid of the other because of what they may feel, what they may think, or what they may believe. That's the kind of world I live in. I want to also thank any of the people who have tuned in to watch my broadcast. I really, really appreciate it because this is all guerrilla, meaning, I don't really have any props. I don't have a big giant microphone in my face. I can't put in clips of things that I want to show examples of because there are rules on YouTube about copyright, and I do respect the copyright. I don't have a right to use. In fact, the very first broadcast I made, YouTube wouldn't let me put it on because it was a clip from a movie called Threads, and it's a nuclear war movie, and I wanted everybody during the Trump campaign, that creeps campaign, I wanted people to see that clip from Threads. That is one of my favorite. In fact, that's one of the finest nuclear war films ever made. Makes Day After look like a Sunday in the park and a picnic. And I enjoy being able to talk to the people who tune in to watch See My Ugly Face. And I want to thank all of those folks who have tuned in. I speak extemporaneously. I don't usually use a script. I'll let you know if I'm going to use a script or not. And I try to speak from the heart because that's how people understand that you really believe what you believe in. If you have notes and a teleprompter, doesn't mean you don't believe what you believe in, but it's a little more scripted. So I apologize for the occasional mistakes that I make. There are people who've written into me. I got a letter from Germany. Even if 1, 2, 3, 4 people watch, I'll tell you if I'm giving you conspiracy theory. I'll tell you if I'm giving you fake news. Most of my information, my interpretation of the news comes from the liberal news. Any liberal outlet, any liberal news that progressive news, that's where I get my information from, aside from reading and the like. I did teach for 31 years, 28 of those in the New York City school system. I did write a script, which I'm trying to sell. These broadcasts, once again, I'd love to be able to put in clips and examples, but I want to follow the rules of the copyright to make sure that people are respected and their rights and their privacies are respected. People who write to me, one person who wrote to me who said he really regretted, or she really regretted, was a person that they voted, they had buyer's remorse, and they told me, they wrote that they voted for this, that the creep. And the way I responded was, at least this person stood up for something, even though, I disagree what he stood up for, but at least this person stood up and voted. 50% of our country did not vote. one of the most important elections. Keith Olbermann has said over and over, one of the most important elections since the Civil War. And I still have to respect anyone who votes, because voting is a very important right that we have in this country. And I wasn't going to insult this person, make them feel bad because of what they voted for. And now we have to work together. We have to go forward, and we have to work together to fight this creature and everything he stands for. Folks, I've had the benefit of being able to read. I'm very thankful for my traditional public school education, almost an entertainment education. I'm very happy for that. I'm happy that I could pick up a book and read it. And I'm happy that one of my favorite books, I consider my Bible. I'm an atheist, by the way, a member of the Jewish tribe. And how can you be an atheist and be a member of Jew anything? Well, that's for another discussion. But I am an atheist, and but I consider my Bible 1984. 1984. I've said this so many times. You want to understand the kind of creep Trump is, you have to read 1984. You want to understand the kind of creep the GOP is, read 1984. You want to know the kind of hypocrites the Democratic Party is, that say they're liberal, but they're still corporatist, read 1984. And I was able to, look, there are two things I had advantage over folks. I know Trump. I've lived in New York City for over 42 years, okay? And I know about this turd. Look, my wife likes to go to Atlantic City, and she used to enjoy the Taj Mahal. And I'm going to tell you, he helped destroy the gambling at Atlantic City. His specialty is bankrupting folks. Bankrupting, not paying. This is the kind of piece of trash that that has been put into our life. So I know, as someone who's lived in New York City, I know what kind of creep this creep is. Look, I love New York City, Gotham. I mean, this is, if you ever want to, this is some place, very unique place. But we've had our share of turds. Boss Tweed, Donald. Now we have P.T. Barnum. P.T. Barnum, who said a sucker was born every minute, and now, of course, many others. And now Donito Trumpolini, Don Trumpo. So what you're going to deal with here is someone a city slicker, who's going to take advantage, the typical, stereotypical big city schmeck who takes advantage of the small town person. That's what we got. I hate to say it. As much as I love New York, this creep is the bottom, the belly of New York, the creeps of New York, the slime of New York, the exploiters of New York. All right, so, and then the other advantage I have is, of course, the reading 1984. Living here in 1984, I was able to recognize this creep for what he is. So I'm not surprised that he put a bunch of buccaneers into his cabinet already. I mean, these people he put in there. He put someone who hates labor as labor secretary. He put someone who hates Medicare and Obamacare as in the Health and Humans, a doctor no less in Health and Human Services. He has a creep from ExxonMobil who loves Putin, and Putin loves him for Secretary of State. He has a creep, one of his advisors, Flynn, a conspiracy theorist. He could whisper in his ear, let's blow him up, let's have nuclear war. Remember that movie, The Dead Zone? Directed by David Cronenberg. We have to depend. The people that have buyer's remorse now, we have to depend on them now to stand up, the intelligent people, the sensitive people that voted for this creep because they really thought that he was an outsider. They were sucked in. We all have to get together now, because we're going to have, unless we can get the electoral college electors do not vote for him, which I hope they don't, unless we have some other situation, we're stuck with this bastard. But it's up to us to fight back. And I thank you all for viewing, and I'm going to help you fight back. I promise I'm going to help you fight back. I'm 66 years old, and I am going to help you. I want you to stand up. You got to revolt, because this creep, Trump, he hates revolt. He said he threatened, he likes to beat up on protesters. Let's show this son of a bitch what freedom of speech and being a U.S. citizen is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, folks. Anyone who's written to me, anyone who's made comments on my page, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the fight must continue, and we must revolt.